Hi there, it's Riikka Kovasin here with a bright birthday card for WoW embossing powders. I'm playing with translucent powders in this card, kind of making different layers or different effects using them. I'm starting my card by making a monoprint using acrylic paints. There's dots of heavy body paint and then I brayer some normal, let's say, acrylic on top. So that gives me that kind of a dotty or sprinkled effect. Naturally, you can just use cardstock, but I love to use my kind of self-made paper. Next, I'm adding embossed layers on top. I'm using a Go Figure stamp by WoW and using the embossing ink. Then I drizzle some pink rubbing embossing powder on top. Even though this powder is, let's say, cold red, it transforms into a fire engine red, like a really warm, vibrant red on top of the orange surface. Same happens to Indigo. Even though it's like a purple or this dark blue hue on top of the orange, it turns into aubergine or has a lot more warmth in it. And the reason for that is naturally that they both are translucent powders. So whatever is underneath affects the color on top. To have the pink robin even more translucent, I'm mixing it with one of the changers called Sheen. This makes the powder more translucent and adds a little bit of shine or gloss to it as well, but I'm more after about that translucency here. Using the same embossing powder color and the same stamp keeps the project coherent, but adds to the layers and gives the project a little bit of perspective. When I have my master sheet or my background sheet done, I cut it to a smaller size to be the base of my card and add a little bit of stamping. I'm using the Round and Round stamp set from WoW and emboss it using Razzleberry from the Summer Scoop Trio. Again, I'm using a translucent powder, so the layers underneath will show. So even though it's an embossing glitter, it's translucent, so you are able to see those stamped layers underneath. I'm using another embossing glitter to add some sparkle to little girl's dress. For this, I'm using a mixed media brush and applying the ink to the coat. When working with mixed media brush, remember that there's a lot of the ink in the brush, so I find it useful to wipe almost everything off to the side of the bottle before I start. I'm using the Orangeade from the Summer Scoop Trio for the dress. Like I said earlier, again, it's a translucent powder, so the details in the black and white photo will show through. To add more of that celebration birthday vibe to the piece, I'm making some balloons. This is where I speeded the video really up so you don't have to see me embossing a lot of times because I'm making 3 layers. I'm first using Serene powder from Riviera Trio and adding a couple of coats using that. When those are heated, I'm doing another layer on top, this time using the powder called Lagoon. Yes, you guessed it, it's a translucent powder, so it just changes the colors underneath. So I have layered this kind of minty tone underneath and there's the speckles of white and black. So in the end it looks more like turquoise with lighter turquoise speckles and then darker ones. Now that I have my main elements done, it's back to the actual card. I sew the background to a piece of cardstock using the same color scheme with the warm yellow and orange tones mixed with turquoise. I'm adding some acrylic paint to the background, kind of making a backdrop for the girl. I clean the excess paint off and then layer the balloons and the little girl on top. I give her a little bit of extra background using just a piece of white cardstock and some edge scissors to decorate that piece. Then I use double-sided tape and foam tape to adhere the elements to my card. The card is now almost done. I'm using a white acrylic marker to draw little lines to the balloons so the little girl can hold them. And then I finish the card with some white embossing powder. I add a pattern to one of the balloons and also add a sentiment to the bottom of the card. As a finishing touch, I add a few crystals to the side and then the card is done. Here's the photo of the card and some close-ups. I hope you liked the video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later this month. Bye!